biggest thing that's been talked about all week. OJ, the juice. Who's been hearing all these P. Diddy rumors and things? Let's get it going now. Welcome on tonight to the Be About It podcast. I'm sorry I'm running behind, and as you can tell from the sound of my voice, I am a little under the weather. But as they say, the show must absolutely and definitely go on. So, being a little late, now that I got my voice back somewhat, and then fighting through this, so I had a few things to get off my mind this week. So the biggest thing's been talked about all week. OJ, the juice. The juice was loose, and now the juice is expired. OJ passed away on April 10th, which was the day before my birthday, which was kind of weird. Yes, I had a birthday celebration. We'll get to that in a moment. But OJ passed away. And before we get into all the bull crap that was brought on years ago, all that, let's talk about the actual man as a football player. He had he was awesome whenever he played. I mean, the man is a number 21 all time. I mean, he was the first person to get over that 2,000 mark. 2,000 yards in a single season. He was the first one to do that. He was also, started out the first few years really just canning it, sucking at it. I was like, so he really didn't catch his until they switched coaches, and the coaches actually built the offense around him up there in Buffalo. So, I mean, if you take away those 3 or 4 seasons where he really stunk it up and didn't do jack, I was like, then, yeah, he might have been even better off than what we believed than where he ended. But let's talk about that other thing, because it has been brought up a lot this week. People are coming out of the woodworks all over the place. I even saw Kato Caitlin, Mr. I Forgot You Even Existed himself, post on Twitter. Who in the hell is, I was like, and plus, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, Kato Caitlin, you had your little 5 minutes fame. You didn't even rank your 15 minutes. You did what you did, and you called it a day. But outside of that, you know, he was acquitted of the murders of Nicole Brown and her friend Ron Goldman. Now, there's speculation on that. I'm not going to get into their relationship. Doesn't matter. Now, this was literally dubbed the trial of the century for those reasons. I mean, it was the first real televised trial, I mean, in history. I mean, everybody across the nation was watching this. This was, I remember this as a kid where we were glued to the TVs. I mean, every day, like Judge Ito, yes. It was referenced in pop culture. It was referenced all over the place. This was a massive thing. A lot of people that weren't around back then do not understand how big this trial actually was. Because you had, personally, I mean, I think you had evidence to put him in jail. I mean, the evidence was all there. I mean, there was so many screw-ups by the prosecution, and so many I did perfectly by the team of defenders. I mean, to be honest, there was a team of super defender lawyers that OJ put together. I mean, there's no other way to talk about it any other way, because without that team, he does not get off. He goes to jail because the prosecution was coming after him and sincere on it. Now, did OJ do it? I don't know. Did OJ have something to do or know something about it? Abso-freaking-lutely. There's not a question in my mind. OJ knew what happened. Now, there was a lot of speculation coming on, like people coming out of the woodworks this week. An officer that refused to testify in the trial that was sentenced to jail for, I think, 3 months or so because he refused to acknowledge what he heard. And he came out. He was like, man, I was threatened by a crime family. Not to talk. And so there's even now being introduced into the Gambino crime family. How much more craziness can we throw at this? I mean, this man's been dead for a week now, and it is still, I mean, every day I wake up, I'm on my way to work, and I turn on the radio, and this is one of the first things they talk about every single week, every single day. On the way home, they're talking about this. New evidence, new people coming out. This person was silent. This person saw this. This person said this. Wow. I mean, This has been almost 30 years. Almost 30 years. And this is the week after he dies, it's going. Now, but the whenever OJ died, I mean, everybody that was coming in there to see him that week, the week leading up to his death, were having to sign a non-disclosure agreement, saying that if they whatever they saw, heard, or anything, they could not repeat that by fear of prosecution in the law. So that's how paranoid this guy was, because he knew he was on all the drugs. He was going to let something slip, and he probably did. Heck, someone hacked his Twitter a little bit after he died and even put, "I did it." And I'm like, dude, come on. At least take a moment, take a second. But the overall, there was no question in my mind. I mean, did OJ have something to do with it? Yes. Did he know somebody did something? Yes. I do not know all the details. I was not there, or else I'd probably be dead as well. Now, there are a lot of people. Now, there was a huge thing going on into the crowd back then. The actual the police scandals going all over the place, especially over there in LA where Rodney King was just going on, and there was massive things going on. They did not know what to do, and this was all over the news now. This was hellified up there. So now we're going to be doing this, and after the communities out there have felt that the injustice from the police departments and the cover-ups, letting those police, that was the worst thing they could have done, is let those police officers with a slap on the wrist. That was stupid as hell on their part, because now they weren't going to let it happen to OJ. That was something they had working against them. There was no question. They had it working against them. So they were fighting that. They were fighting the people and the juror. Well, I mean, out of the 12, I mean, 9 of them African American. I mean, they were, and even one of them came out after the whole juror. This guy kept it a secret the whole time, but he was a former member of the Black Panthers. And even afterwards, do you think he was right? Do you think he did it? He's like, and some of the jurors even said, yes, I thought he did it, but the prosecution could not prove it. Like I said earlier, the prosecution had all the love in the world centered around this case. They were handed a bloody glove. They were handed a cut on OJ's wrist. They were handed OJ's blood at the crime scene. They were handed a conviction, and they screwed it up that much. That's how bad that prosecution team screwed it up, because they were getting engulfed in the fame that this trial brought them. So, I was like, but there's that stuff coming out every week. They even asked one of the jurors afterwards. I was like, do you think it was right do you think OJ killed his wife? Yes. I was like, I did. I was like, do you think it was wrong that you released him? And just held up her arms like, I don't know, whatever. And that goes back to all the injustice that the police were doing, because they were not about to let one happen again. And they were willing to let a killer go free just to not do that again. So that's where that story ended. Now that brings me into a little secondary topic on this, because who's been hearing all these P. Diddy rumors and things? P. Diddy this, P. Diddy that. Celebrities are really divided over this. Now, didn't help that he was flying out. Now, the last thing I heard is he was catching a flight out of this country and he was off and moving. So I don't know exactly what was going on, but I know his houses were raided, his sons were arrested. The charges they're trying to put onto him are sexual trafficking, things like that. Now, like I said, celebrities are really divided on this. Some giving support, some not so much. Keisha, whenever she was when doing a live on TikTok, singing her songs like to F.P. Diddy, I was just like, whoa. Now there we're going, there we're talking about it. I mean, just not like P. Diddy, but F.P. Diddy came out on that. We know where she stands. Even Jelly Roll passed on the chance to meet P. Diddy. I read about this, and he was actually, he didn't know why, but he got like a bad vibe. He didn't know what was giving him that, but he just kind of rolled with it. He was like, you know what, maybe another time, and walked away. Didn't feel it. But Ray J says Diddy's friends need to give him time or need to time to process before defending him. Basically, he's saying, we don't know the rule. We don't know what's going on. Why don't you not judge him, not jump to speculation before we start getting some facts on this? Let us know what's going on. So basically, they're not going to just roll over and say, "Nah, he couldn't have done that, did he?" No. And most of them, some of them may not know at all. I mean, they're just going to be riding along, say what they want to say, and then they're going to either backtrack it, disappear for the public eye for a little bit, and then they'll go back into it. But the speculations are all over the place about him and Justin Bieber. Now, I know some of y'all out there have seen the video where he's walking, he's tapping him on the chest, trying to do this little number, trying to figure out why. It looks like he's frisking him. It really does. It looks like he's like trying, you wearing a wire before he's talking. He's like, no, just, and you know, you could see the vibe between them wasn't something that they were like old friends. I was like, there was awkwardness between them. I know y'all have seen that video. If you haven't, look it up. I'll see if I can't find it posted on the website. Speaking of which, I was like, if you haven't been to the newest website, launched a little bit ago, that's www.beaboutitpodcast.com. I am updating this one as often as possible. I ain't going to lie. Have not updated it in the past couple days, about 4 days now, because I've been under the weather, as you can tell by the voice. But it's all coming back to me, so I felt I needed to get on here and get these out before something else happens, and I got to report more and more. It's hard enough to talk. Got to keep going. So, but I saw the video of them meeting, and it was awkwardness. And you see P. Diddy in the old time that, I was like, and you see P. Diddy in the past hanging out with Justin Bieber that, and like this is a 15-year-old kid hanging out with a grown-ass man, and you're thinking, what are those two going to talk about? What do they have in common? What is anything going to go with that? So that was really my, like, look at that. I'm like, what are you going to do to the, like this 15-year-old boy? And you can see another video where he looks like he's down in some alcohol. And he couldn't still. I was like, and you don't know what's going on. But if, like whatever he's doing on that one, he is, I was like, down, and a lot of speculation that he was drugged because you can see his mannerism, like Frankensteinish act, like looking around. But after that, after his little like meetings with P. Diddy and things like that, you see Justin Bieber go down a path that there was nothing. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not a Bieber fan. My sister, massive Bieber fan. I am not a Bieber fan, but I can still acknowledge the simple truth of what happened. He went that kind of stalled him, stopped him. He got into drugs, got into alcohol. He changed. He wasn't this cute little kid doing the little, oh no, doing the little heart chest thing. But no, he became a man that was troubled, that he was hurting. And that was his escape, was drug and alcohol. I mean, if you look at Bieber 10 years ago, look at him today. I mean, it's not the same person. You look at Bieber 15 years ago, look at him today, definitely not the same person. But always as I taking it as like consideration and what happened, what could have happened, what did happen, as like things that we might not know for a while. Now Bieber is talking about this for a minute. He's been coming out, which is probably why his speculation with him and Diddy are kind of awkwardness. Who knows? But that is for them to know and us to find out apparently, because this ain't going anywhere for any time soon. Because I know, I don't know if any of y'all have been listening for a long time. This has been going on for about a year. In one of my first podcasts, we talked about the Sound of Freedom review, and in which it focuses on the child trafficking, sex trafficking specifically. And after that, you've heard a lot more in the public, a lot more in news about this, where they're starting to crack down. I think that movie really struck a nerve with some people where they realized they had to do something. But the sex trafficking thing, they are taking a massive look at anything like that. So this ain't going anywhere until they get some facts, until they get anything going on. So I'm going to follow this along with a few other things and see exactly where this goes, what information comes out, and I will always keep everything posted. But going to take a little break here, get a little rehydration, and then we're going to wrap it up with some unsettling and unfortunate news that has always breaking on this. But we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on over there in the Middle East. So stick around for a second. Be right back. All right. And after a little interaction with TikTok, Blackie, hello. Thanks for joining. Good to see you here. After a little interaction with the fans off of TikTok, having some fun conversations, now we're back to wrap this up and finish this out. Now, I told you we were going to talk a little on the trouble over in the Middle East. You know, when is there not trouble in the Middle East? It seems like there's been trouble in the Middle East forever now, at least as long as I've been alive. So now you have Iran attacking Israel. I know a few of you were like, what the hell just happened? Did he say Iran? I knew Israel was, and Hamas and Palestine were at. Yes, Iran is getting them from the other side now. Now, I don't know where you fall on your allegiance, your backing, don't care. It's not my personal business. I don't judge. We can still have a conversation. If you back one thing, I back another, don't worry. I'll still respect you in the morning. I was like, it's not about that. But I do like to inform everything that I know and everything that I've read from reliable sources. So this is what I know so far. Iran attacks Israel, launches over 200 drone attacks and missiles. Now, a lot of these were caught by the anti-missile set off from, even the U.S. had a little involvement taking out some of the missiles and drones, but there was over 200 launched at Israel, and luckily, so far, only one casualty has been found and talked about. But the IDF, which is Israel Defense, says it was attack at specific targets, which means they were trying to take out a few of their big wigs and build it up and go from there. But it is one of those. Now they're going to be Israel is now under attack at two different fronts. You have Iran on one side, and now you have Palestine and Hamas on the other side. And that, well, tell you one thing, Biden has already said that the U.S. will defend Israel, but not aid in an attack on Iran, because there is one coming back. They are already talking about, Israel immediately was like, what are we going to do? How are we going to retaliate? And there will be one. I mean, Israel has shown us, if nothing else in the past almost year now, or the past 8 months, that they are not scared to go into war and go into battle. So they are going to go after Iran as well. They'll fight till the end. They'll probably lack off with Palestine and Hamas, which will give that group a little bit of time to recuperate. But Iranian state television said it was a retaliation for Israel's strike on consular building in Syria. Okay. I ain't gonna lie to you. Whenever I was reading this story, this was the first. I read the news every single day. I'm just one of those geeks and nerds and old timers like that. I like knowing what's going on around the world, but this is the first I've heard of that one. Now, I could have missed it. Ain't gonna lie. That might be on me. And if it is, it is tough. I'll suck an egg on that one. But the fact that Biden has stated that, well, they will defend Israel, but basically means that they will not attack Iran, but they will stay in Israel and we will help defend it. That's either way. You're going to be, if Iran invades and attacks, you're still going to have to deal with that battle. And what is in Iran that the U.S. likes? Ooh, it's right there on the tip of my tongue. Oh, yes, oil. They are one of the biggest, they actually produce a lot of oil, and we all know that the U.S. loves our oil. If only we had like reserves we could tap and not worry about that. But hey, what do I know? I'm just an average guy doing an average podcast on an average station. I was like, with a great audience, by the way. Thank you. But one thing but back to this Iran, this stuff is heating up over there. Iran getting involved, and Israel getting involved, and the U.S. saying, "Okay, we're back," and we already know where Russia stands on that. They're going to be against the U.S. This is shaping up to be a lot of trouble. I think it needs to come in. It needs to be ended quickly. You got to end on one front or the other. You can't fight an enemy on two fronts. I'm sure that's in the art of war, or it should not try to fight an enemy on two fronts. But uh, this has got to come to an end one way or another, and it ain't going to be with Israel backing down. They have the military strength and power. They're going to keep going. So Iran is in for trouble, and the U.S. will have to pick a side on them. I hate to say it, but Iran will cut us out of the oil. We have Saudi Arabia and a couple others, but we also have our reserves. So that shouldn't even bother anybody here. It shouldn't adjust our. We might see a slight increase in our gas prices, but I don't think it should be big. I think we should open up the reserves and let it go. So this one is just getting started. Actually, I'd say it's getting started since last October, September, October. This thing has been escalating, and now there's 3 countries involved, not just 2. 4 if you count the U.S. Sounds like, and I'm sure there's some other ones that'll jump in on this bandwagon. So we're gonna see how things go. But on that note, I have said it earlier. If you have not been able to check out our website yet, it's www.beaboutitpodcast.com,
where we get some exclusive content.
There will be eventually some content on there just for my subscribers onto the website, not on TikTok, not on anything, but just there. So be sure to go check it out and have some fun with it. But
like all good things, it must come to an end. This be one of them. We've had a blast, had a great time, but let's call it a week. Let's have a great time. Let's see you next time. Till then, don't just talk about it. Be about it.